Here's an example on how to do 2 by 2 multiplication using the Lattice method. So what we have here is a problem 45 times 23. Now, the first thing you got to do is set up your boxes, right? You're doing 2 by 2 multiplications. So the boxes that you will need is also 2 by 2. And what I mean by 2 by 2 is you will need 2 columns, right? Those are the ones going up and down. Those are the columns. You need 1 column for the 4 and 1 column for the 5. Because there's 2 digits up here, you will need 2 columns. You will also need 2 rows because you have 2 digits on the bottom here. You need 1 row for the 2 and 1 row for the 3. Now, after you make your 2 by 2 box and you place your numbers, the next step is drawing your diagonals. So the diagonal up here and the diagonal down here are the same. You go from one corner to the other corner, right? And you just make sure you pass on through. The same down here. You go from one corner to the other corner and you draw it like that. Now this middle one, it's the same diagonal, except instead of just going through 2 corners, there's an extra corner, 1, 2, 3. So you can draw your dots just to make sure that you do it correctly, or you can skip the dots depending on if you already know what you're doing. But drawing the diagonals is a very important step, because if you draw them wrong, you're gonna get it wrong. Now, the reason I go with the Lattice method is because it's more simplified. You don't have to worry about zeros for the placeholders, or when you multiply, you don't have to worry about carrying, none of that stuff. So I just think it's a more simple method. I've had way more success teaching the Lattice method than any other method that I've used, the traditional method or anything like that. So now that we've drawn our box, and we have our diagonals and we have our numbers placed where they need to be, it's a matter of single digit multiplication. So you see these 2 numbers here, they align with this box. So this would be 5 times 2, and that's 10. So you put the 1 up here and the 0 up here. And you can see how that makes 10, right? Now, once you're done with this box, you don't have to multiply 5 times 2 anymore. You can slide over to the next one. Well, what's 4 times 2, right? So this is 8, but instead of putting just the 8 here, you put 0, 8. That way, none of the triangles are empty, and then you just know, okay, it's not like I forgot to do it. It's already done. There's a 0 there, okay? So now that you've multiplied your 2 times 5 and your 2 times 8, now you can do 3 times 5, which corresponds to this box down here. 3 times 5 is 15. So again, we put the 1 up here and the 5 down here. That way there's still 1 digit in each triangle and the whole box is filled up. Now we do 4 times 3. So I was getting ahead of myself. So you put the 2 up here and the 0 down here, and you can see how that makes 20. Now that you have done all your multiplication, now it's time to add. I like to say add your diagonals, because that's what you're adding. You're adding this diagonal first, second, third, fourth, okay? So let's go ahead and start. Just like adding regular, we always start from our far right side. In this case, we have a 5 all on its own. So I like to say, just float it down, because 5 plus nothing is still gonna be 5, right? Our next diagonal, we have 0 plus 1 plus 0. Well, that's just 1. Our next diagonal, 1 plus 8 plus 2. Now that gives us 11. So just like regular addition, when there's another space, we cannot write the 2 digits down here. So we write the 1 from the ones place here, and then we carry the 1 from the tens place up here. Now we have 1 plus 0, which just gives us 1. So this is basically our answer. I'm going to rewrite it here. It's 1,115. And that's how we do lattice multiplication.